Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Pools. And this is a new dramedy coming to you from writer-director Sam Hayes, who I'm not particularly familiar with his work previously, like Costumes Required and Crossword, but here we have Odessa A'zion, who plays Kennedy, who's in the midst of watching her whole life fall apart. She attempts to somehow reconnect with her dead father, searching for permission to live her own life within a wild pool-hopping escapade through the estates in her college town. And very literally, this movie is about pools, or at least part of it. Or what do the pools mean? And it's one of those kinds of films where if you watch this on the surface, it's a fun time. But you could also peel back layers and really think about what this has to say about this specific period of finding oneself, coming of age in that college time of like, I don't even really know what I'm doing. I'm just going through the motions. And A'zion is such a charismatic performer, and I think she does a really good job of making Kennedy an interesting protagonist, that even if we're not so wholly sold on what she is doing, but we can't help but want to go along for the ride, along with her other friends who are all very attractive and charismatic individuals. Well, minus maybe the charismatic part with her buddy Blake, played by Tyler Alvarez, who's kind of the stick in the mud of the group. But you have like Mason Gooding, you have Francesca Noel, Ariel Winter, and this crew goes up to all kinds of shenanigans when basically they take over this house that's been, the family is away, and they jump in the pool. They go all over the house, ransack it. They're just having a crazy good time. And this film is really interesting as it works kind of in three parts. Like the first act of this film is very quirky, funny, kind of college indie comedy. And it is very funny. And the fact that Kennedy thinks that people that work on, HVACs and stuff like that are air conditioners. And she keeps chasing after this guy, played by Michael Vomis, who is, a guy a handyman, and trying to get him to fix her air conditioning in her dorm, and all of these shenanigans that come back later. The second act of this film is really going full-blown into this wild, crazy night where, like, you can feel Hayes leaning into some maybe thriller tendencies, and you're like, what kind of stuff is going to happen? Like, you feel more ominous music and stuff like that. It's more like they get up to some crazy shenanigans, like somebody feels like they had their first alcoholic beverage and completely loses control. You have this awkward love triangle developing between, three very attractive young people. And, they utilize some bisexual energy, and there's maybe a little bi-curiosity going on at times, and it's a crazy, wild time. Then the film takes a step back, and in the third act really reframes everything with such a wild twist in terms of the narrative, but really puts you through this more dramatic element of the film of Kennedy really trying to figure out who she is, what she wants to do with her life, and she has this very interesting connection that she builds, and these all seem like they're all disjointed, but Hayes is able to find this nice natural progression, even if like narratively some of this stuff is a little far-fetched and ridiculous. It all still comes together and develops into a pretty impactful and poignant experience, and just seeing the journey that these characters, especially Kennedy, goes on. And you feel for them, you connect with them. It does go a long way having very attractive, charismatic actors, young performers, bringing these characters to life, but it still delivers something meaningful, and you go on this journey with them. You have some fun supporting characters like Miss Lewis, played by Suzanne Cryer, who is the Dean of Students, and she has this whole entire dynamic with Kennedy throughout the film, and it's a fun element, but also an important element to Kennedy's growth. And overall, this film has a lot of personality. It feels like it's going for that more old school indie, like shot on film kind of vibe, and that more contemporary bits of lighting and feeling more modern with its music. The music really works for us. The visuals are sharp. This is a really well put together film with some nice depth. as deep as those pools, maybe. Whatever they might mean. And I do feel like this journey that Kennedy goes on and her connection with just leaping into the pool and realizing, like, sometimes you need to take a step back and figure out where you're going to leap first. And it's a fun, engaging, moving, and pretty poignant cinematic experience that ties us all together in a meaningful way. But those are my thoughts on Pools. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.